Florida is a little bit of a hot spot right now. I don't think I would have my parents getting on a plane coming from Florida. I think shelter in place is probably the safest thing to do in Florida right now. But with Florida's numbers climbing, Florida is not where I would go right now. And if I was in Florida, I would hunker down. I would not be flying out of a Florida airport right now. I'd not be doing public transportation in Florida right now.
Murphy Medical and the city of New Haven are doing some heavy lifting to get ready to test our first responders. This is an example of our walk-up site. You register evenly spaced apart with the marks, so that way you know how far apart you should be. You step in right here, you meet with our registration team. Right, they register you on the computer, they print out your sample requisition labels, they give you a reminder card via the portal, and then you proceed down the steps here until you do your nasopharyngeal swabbing and a walkthrough. So this will be walkthrough testing, right? So we walk through here, they come in, they sit down, they'll get swabbed, and then they'll proceed over here. And over here, we do our blood draw testing. You can see our phlebotomist right here doing antibody testing in our pods, in our secure pods, okay? So we'll go ahead and do that. In addition, these pods are outfitted so that way you can have a second pod with a second draw chair, and you can accommodate 2 people per pod. Each side is sanitized after every person, and we can have someone sit down and wait in a secure fashion. It is the team from iCan Storage dropping off one of the Murphy Medical Associates quad pods. We are getting ready to do testing for the municipal workers, the city of New Haven, and we brought all the big trucks, all of them. How's it going, guys? It's Dr. Murphy with Murphy Medical Associates, doing a stroke of business here today in New Haven. Today I toured our medical office that's being retrofitted with negative pressure rooms to be able to take care of the citizens of New Haven for good, not just in our drive-thrus, not just in our walkthroughs, but in a space very near and dear to my heart, right on Chapel. So I'm very happy about that. In addition, what we have is a serious, heavy-duty rock problem. So if any of you have been following me, the one thing that I don't like is stones. Not the kind of stones that say you gotta have some stones, but the stones that hurt. Like the kidney stone that Dr. Murphy had, right? That's right, I had a kidney stone from taking vitamin D. No good. Vitamin D is good for you. Too much, not so good for you. Okay? So we gotta move some rock piles and some mountains. Murphy's moved mountains a long time. And we got some really good help from the city of New Haven who's going to help us test, treat, isolate, and trace. We're going to take care of the city. We're going to take care of the police officers and the firefighters, the first responders. We're going to take care of everyone. It's very busy here. So I'm going to let them do busy. We're going to set up a site and get ready for tomorrow. This is Dr. Murphy of Murphy Medical Associates and our team at coronatestct.com. It's coronatestct.com. Planting roots in New Haven and taking care of those that care for us. All right? What's the bear mean? We protect our own. That's right. Don't forget it. All right. Dr. Murphy signing off, telling you guys have a good day. Hydrate. It's sunny and hazy out, so you're going to get dehydrated, so drink tons of water. All right? It's Dr. Murphy signing off. Have a great day, everyone. Hi, how's it going, guys? It's Dr. Murphy with Murphy Medical Associates. We are here testing the first responders at the Fire Academy in New Haven. Hey, Linda, how are you doing? I just wanted to say thank you to the city of New Haven, want to say thank you to Director Bond, Mayor Elliker, Chief Alston. All right, I want to say thank you to Rick Fontana, Director of the EMD Director. I want to thank Assistant Chief Dominguez and the Police Department in New Haven. We wanted to open this up to the Yale University Police, as well as the AMR Ambulance Corps. We were really excited to do that. I think they have other alternative plans and strategies. We hope to get tested. We're here doing antibody testing, and we're doing PCR testing, right? We want to remind everyone, hi Linda, I get it. We want to remind everyone that just because it's a fast test does not make it the best test. And so that's why we're really not using the Abbott machine until they reconfigure it. We're not using the Abbott machine until we reconfigure it. Therefore, we're not doing the self-swab stuff. I'm getting results in at the same time. The positive rate's starting to pick up in a couple of towns here. So we're starting to see a little bit of that now. Each pod can also accommodate 2 people. So we have parking on either side of the pod. Right, the person will commence and drive through. As you can see here, here's our pod. There's no one getting... Dr. Murphy, sorry about that. I just had to handle a couple of positive results. Boy, they're coming in fast and furious. So like I said, we're seeing our numbers go up a little bit in a couple of the towns. We'll give our reports to the state. We'll let them distribute that data. But we'll let all of our town partners know what's going on in their town. Right, one of the advantages of working with us is that they get their results right away. Right, we're able to keep the town and the city in the loop right away, right on the spot. No messing around. All right, so we are here at the Fire Academy in New Haven, testing New Haven's finest police department, New Haven's fire department, and the New Haven EMS. Right, so we are here for first responders. We've always been here for first responders since the very beginning when we started testing in Stamford, Stratford, and Greenwich. We wanted to focus on first responders because those are the people who take care of us, right? They take care of our city. We should take care of them. All right, my pager has been going off like crazy, so I'm going to let you guys go. Be safe, have a great, beautiful day, and wear the sunscreen. All right, and drink the water. Drink the water. 64 ounces of water minimum, and wear your sunscreen. This is Dr. Murphy with coronatestct.com and our team at Murphy Medical Associates signing off for the day. We got a busy one.
Good morning, everyone. Right, that's right. I got a haircut the other day. I got an open air haircut. And he cut all the hair. That's for sure. He cut all the hair. It's Dr. Murphy, Murphy Medical Associates. It's around 7:30 in the morning. As we kind of wind through June. It's June 20th today. 2/3 of the way through the month. Almost halfway through the year. I don't think when I was celebrating New Year's that this would be quite the year that it is. So I want to thank everyone for the crazy ride here over the last few months. I wanted to recap everything with everyone. You know, in February, I began to pay attention to the news. Hey, Linda, good morning. Good morning, Maximus. Good morning, all you guys. So in February, I began paying attention to the news about this virus that was pretty significant. The virus was so significant that they were yeah, I know, Linda, I did. That they were really cohorting people pretty significantly in Wuhan, in the Hubei province of China. And that this did not appear to be, greetings, Maximus, and this did not appear to be your standard, everyday, run-of-the-mill outbreak. This was not your outbreak. We saw MERS, we saw SARS. We knew that on the Asian continent that they were a little more aware of respiratory viruses, and so they were more likely to wear masks. Often, I'll tell you myself, I thought there was a little overkill. As a doctor, right? As a physician, as a board-certified internist and board-certified bariatrician, I thought the masks might be a little bit overkill. I did. I thought the mask might be overkill. Linda, it's West Haven next week. Hartford is going to be hopefully July. I'm sure in the next couple of months we'll figure it out up there. But we're getting some nursing home employee samples coming in from the Hartford County. They're coming into our lab. So we're screening the employees, doing a good job of it. Okay, so yeah, where was I? So I thought, I said, why are you wearing these masks all the time? SARS, yes, I get it. It's very bad, but it's tough to get. I couldn't even imagine what was going to happen in China. But it was when I saw that they were welding apartment complex doors shut. When they welded those doors shut, that rang in my mind as true. That meant you're only going to contain this by locking down everyone. And I said to myself, when you lock down people, you crush an economy. Why would China ever be willing to crush their economy? I mean, this is a country that would do big public works projects. I mean, they built all sorts of mega cities to make sure that people had work. And to develop into their country. They wanted their economy to grow. Why would they shut it down in a leading manufacturing zone? That's insanity. Well, it wasn't insanity. The virus was insanity. And so what I learned in February was it's time to buy masks. Okay, time to buy N95s. It's time to buy face shields. And I knew I had to buy swabs. Why did I have to buy swabs? Well, I knew I needed to buy kits because I knew that it was flu season and people are going to want to know more whether they had the flu or coronavirus. And so luckily we had we have a bunch of little CLIA waved machines called RPEZ machines, right? These are little biofire machines that we used for flu every year, right? We used them. They did a really good job. And we also, before that, we had the Abbott machines, which I actually used to be called the Alere machines. And those stunk. Those machines were so horrible. They broke down all the time. And I couldn't believe in their results. There was someone who totally had the flu. I said, well, geez, might as well be like one of those ELISA pregnancy cards. It's not real. So we stepped up to these biofire machines. We I don't know, a dozen of them. These CLIA wave machines from the Biofire Diagnostics Company had about a dozen of them. And so we were running these samples in all of our different locations. Well, I knew that I had to get reagent for those. And that's when the call came from the Biofire Diagnostics rep who said, you should get yourself one of these torch machines. So what's a torch machine? Well, you can run, like 16 to 20 samples an hour, depending on how efficient you are with these machines. So we started the discussions of that as I prepared in February for what I thought might happen. But it really didn't crystallize itself until in March. And in March, I had the capacity early on, very early on. I think it was first couple of days in March, Quest announced that they had a coronavirus test. Now, this was important because until then, you couldn't get testing aside from through the CDC or the Connecticut, and I'm in Connecticut right now. I know it looks like El Yunque, but it's Connecticut, right? I am here in Connecticut. Maybe it doesn't look like El Yunque, but it's green enough. So I was able to get access to kits, access to testing. And that was important because I knew we had to test, treat, isolate, and trace. If we had any chance of getting through this mess in Fairfield County, because that's really where my focus was at first, in Fairfield County, in order to get through the mess, we'd have to test. And so we focused on testing. We opened all of our drive-through centers at our offices in Stamford, in Stratford, and in Greenwich, Connecticut. We got the swabs. We got the kits. I called Quest on the day they put their press release out, and on Seeking Alpha, I read their little presser, and I said, I need most favored nation status, and you need to send me as many swabs as you can get. You know, it's funny. I was talking to my friend, John Sotaro. He's a cardiologist. I got to tell you, he's at Yale. I love John. He is one of my mentors. His eloquence. I'll tell you why it's getting bad. I'm rambling on about John Sotaro, but I'll tell you the story about him in a second. All right. So Linda wants to know, why is it getting bad in Florida? Why isn't it getting bad in Florida? Right. You have people interacting. They had beaches open. Right. I get it. It's open air. Right. So if you're spaced socially distanced enough, you're probably okay. I remember reading articles in the very beginning where they said in the stool, the ocean spray will aerosolize particles. It doesn't work like that. It's like Han Solo when he tells Finn, he says, the Force doesn't work that way. The Force doesn't work that way. That's how scared we were. And still, by the way, there is aerosolized spread. There are case studies about it. It's aerosolized, guys. It's aerosolized. So the people at those beaches were way too close together, number one. Number two, you had family out gatherings together, cookouts. You had families that are in the house together. And then there's the added twist of air conditioning. People go inside when it's really hot out there to get into the air conditioning. So the air conditioning blowing stuff. We saw that in a South Korean study in a restaurant where the air was recirculated through from a COVID table to a non-COVID table, and they ended up sick. So I think those are the big things with Florida. Unfortunately, see, Disney's Adventureland. There are a lot of people in Florida. Right. There are a lot of people in Florida. There are congregate living centers all over in Florida. There are nursing homes in Florida. There's a significant elderly population in Florida. Right. These are all issues. It's a tinderbox. It is a tinderbox there. Now, the good news is they've got a lot of testing, which is great. But it's not just testing. So this says, oh, we're testing more, so there's more positives. We're testing more in Connecticut, and there's less positives, okay? We're testing more in Connecticut, and there's less positives, all right? So you look at the positivity rate and the testing rate. The positivity rate is going up, and your testing rate is going up, but your positivity rate is growing bigger than your testing rate. You're getting an outbreak, right? You've got a hotspot, and you need to tag it. Some of these states have a positivity rate at 20%. I can tell you right now, in the heyday here in New York and Connecticut, when we were testing at all of our centers, our positivity rate was not, I repeat, was not that high every day. It wasn't even close to that high every day. So that's very, very concerning. So that's Florida, right? Arizona too, similar sort of issue with air conditioning, I think. Listen. There is a reason why they wear masks in Asia. It's called SARS. All right, it's called SARS. That killed people. And to be able to keep your economy open and to succeed, you wear the mask. You wear a mask, right? It's not that bad. You wear a mask. Surgeons all over the place are laughing about the fact that, oh, if I wear a mask, I'm going to go crazy. I mean, surgeons are crazy, but the mask didn't make them crazy. I know myself, as I sat in as a medical student at a 16-hour liver transplant assist. The only thing that we noted was being in the field so long got us really dehydrated. But it did not get us goofy or crazy or sluggish or affect our mentation. Masks. And if you want to know the God's to honest truth, we need to be giving away masks everywhere. There needs to be a massive, massive mask giveaway. Mayor Martin in Stamford listened when we talked about it, and he is out there with Representative Blumenthal giving away masks. The Department of Public Health in Stamford, Henry Yoon is doing a great job there. Dr. Calder's doing a great job there. They're giving away masks. That's what we have to do everywhere. Mass distribution of masks. Okay? Mass distribution of masks. Test. Right? We need to test everyone we can. Right? So at our practice, we worked with BioMorel and the Biofire Diagnostics Company. Okay? BioMorel produces cutting-edge infectious disease PCR testing. And they were the only company to answer the call. I'll tell you quickly, I'll wrap up the rest of the story. John Sotaro, right? So John Sotaro said to me, you're all the talk at Yale, Murph. You're all the talk at Yale. Every day, your skin eats all sorts of things. The sun is one of those things. He said, you're all the talk at Yale. And all the stories I've been telling it. Well, listen, I was a fellow at Yale. I was a genetics fellow up there. So they know me. He said, but the favorite story I had to tell was the story where you said, when they welded doors shut in Wuhan, I knew that I must buy swabs. And that's what people asked, right? All of these big institutions, listen, a lot of smart people there. A lot of smart. We totally need to hook up a support group. I do have patients over there. One of my childhood friends was a gynecologic surgeon at Hartford, and I met with the Hartford team a couple of times. They're good people. They're working hard. But in big systems, there's politics. There's politics. And the politics slows smart people from doing the right things. For fear of retribution. For fear of the politics and the pecking order, right? At our organization, Murphy Medical Association, we have a flat organization. Flat. What does that mean? We are all responsible. Like the special forces. And we cross-train. Cross-training all the way. That's the key. So if you want a flat organization, you don't specialize, you cross-train. And then you specialize from where you are in the cross-training, but you get refreshers about the other stuff you've learned. Okay, you refresh about the other stuff you learn. And that's the way it is with the human body. The human body is not one organ system. It is a complex interplay, right? Oh, thank you so much, Linda. I'm going to send people that way for sure. Every Saturday, 10 a.m., Facebook Live. It's important. Support groups are so important for all of this. We have to take care of each other. In this case, with exercise and with maintaining body homeostasis and hormone optimization, you truly, truly, truly need to focus on your body, right? Its capacity to handle challenges and to push those challenges. So there's biochemical response to stimulus. Biochemical response to stimulus that's so important. And if your body cannot respond to the stimulus, you can't be doing a stimulus that hard. So the first part is to identify your body's response, your baseline. So you get a baseline set of blood work. This includes hormones. This includes liver and kidney function. This includes neuroendocrine system evaluation. This is advanced stuff, guys, right? It is not something that you learn in internship, right? You don't learn it in internship. Most people don't learn it in residency, right? You just don't happen, right? In addition to those things, the problem is the public doesn't understand what you're doing, right? And you've got a lot of powerful interests against you. People who absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. It's very important. And so we have to apply biochemical understanding. And I think one of the big things about the novel coronavirus is it's taught me to open my eyes to the fact that it's killing people with diabetes and obesity. Why? Because they're pro-inflammatory. Why? Because their adipocytes, their fat cells, secrete a lot of chemicals, including tumor markers and tumor necrosis factors, adipokines, right? So all of this has merged together. My knowledge of obesity and metabolism is playing a role with infectious disease. It's playing a role with infectious disease. Most doctors don't know that, right? So I know the studies that are likely to come out because of the biology. Why? I'm a professor at New York Medical College, and I teach genetics, right? I teach pathogenetic mechanisms of disease. Pathogenetic mechanisms of disease in the pathology course and in the biochemistry course. Biochem, okay? So, put simply, during this time of quarantine, as we begin to open up, I want you to do the following things, okay? Thing one, Linda, I'm going to tell you, if you really need to be tested, you can go to the CVS's now. I think a lot of them are actually finally using the right machines rather than those crazy Abbott machines that you couldn't diagnose the virus with, or versus a coin flip. But when I get up there, I'll get up there. I promise. I'm trying. I really am. I may end up in Brooklyn before I end up in Hartford. And that there's a whole host of reasons for that need to be completely demolished, I think, healthcare-wise. All right, during quarantine, lift weights. Lift weights. Body weight exercises are a very good way to start before you start weights. Hydrate, at least 64 ounces a day. Sun, get the sun's rays. Get time outside. But get time outside in the sun, okay? Sleep. Try to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. It's very important. Even I am not getting the sleep I usually get. It's very important. You can say, oh, I don't need a lot of sleep. You need sleep. 7 hours of sleep. I tell people vitamin D. Well, yours truly got a kidney stone from vitamin D. So 2,000 to 5,000 units. Do not go to 10,000 units like the Murph did. Okay? Don't go to 10,000 units like the Murph did. You end up with a kidney stone. We don't want that. Okay? I want you to stay hydrated. So what's up for the next week on the docket with Murphy Medical Associates? Well, we're finishing retrofitting the Stratford office so we can start opening it and seeing patients that are non-COVID. Right? We know that 99% of patients right now are probably non-COVID. So we're opening up those offices in a couple of weeks. So we're working on that. It's number one. Number two, we're going to finalize our deal for the office in New Haven. We're going to finalize the deal for the office in New Haven. Number three, we're working on office negotiations in Bridgeport. So that way we will have offices in Greenwich, office in Stamford, office in Stratford, office in Bridgeport, office in New Haven. Okay, office in New Haven. So those are offices that are safe offices. They either are going to have the highest level of MERV ventilation in buildings that don't have windows, which gives me agita, but we have to figure that out. Or they're going to be open air window offices. One or the other. That's the safe way to go. So that's what we're doing for our offices. We continue to pivot our drive-thrus. We've closed our drive-thru in Stamford because the demand for testing is very low. And instead, we're just doing park hop testing. All you have to do is read the litany of articles about how hospital bills have bankrupted patients. Hospital systems with big endowments need to forgive all of those medical bills. Just forgive them. Debt jubilee. Done. Forgive the debt. You know, it's so bad with hospital systems and not forgiving debt that they've had to create other 501c3s to buy the medical debt at pennies. Guys, pennies on the dollar, right? Hospital systems will sell that debt for pennies on the dollar. So if you're going to lose money on it, just forgive it, right? We're forgiving our debt. We're forgiving the debt of our patients. We're forgiving the debt. People can't afford debt right now. People can't afford AR, right? And we will not charge any patient Hey, King Jameson, what's going on? We will not charge any patient. We will not bill any patient for coronavirus. I totally agree, Maximus, right? That is, listen, I have 100% to tell you that it sounds a lot better in Spanish than it does English. But I agree. The town united will never be bested. And that requires a cultural adhesion to say we're all in this together. And to do that, you have to create a series of goals. I'm a good one, Jameson, right? I learned that lesson a few years ago. When someone says, "What kind of doctor are you?" Say, "I'm a good one." Right? Just say you're a good doctor. I am a board-certified internist and bariatrician, a board-certified bariatrician. I am a genetically trained physician. Very few of us. Now, interestingly enough, those that have trained in internal medicine and genetics, these two fields together, which is kind of general medicine plus genetics, there are more astronauts than there are people like me. Which means that most people, when they see how I practice, go, "Why is this guy ordering all this blood work? Like, what's he doing?" I'm studying your body, right? We're doing biochemistry. We're looking at biochemical markers. We are identifying risk before it happens, right? That's why I'm a good doctor. We identify risk before the disease happens. That's what we're supposed to do as doctors. We just don't wait. Otherwise, we're playing. Oh, dude, man, you're singing my language, Jameson. You are singing my language. And I hope I pronounced that right, because, Jameson is the Jameson, but it could Jameson. Could be Jameson. Is it Jameson? That's what I want to know, King Jameson. If it's Jameson. So, we detect things before they get bad. That's what we did with this virus. We saw that it was bad somewhere else. We don't, me too, right? We know, and this is why I fast, right? This is why I fast. It signals your RNA changes, and it's Jameson, right? Nice. We've got sites running in Bedford, New York today, and it sounds crazy to me. Anyways, you have to have a good panel. Okay, that's the second page from Bedford. I'm going to let you guys go. I'll probably get back on here in a couple of minutes after I figure out what's going on in Bedford. The moral of the story is you got to test your blood. You got to test your neuroendocrine system. You got to test your enterohormonal axis. You have to test your vertically aligned profile. Thank you very much, Maximus. It's a key. You have to know how your body is working on the inside. As doctors, that's what we're supposed to do. It can be very pragmatic, but what sense is pragmatism if you don't have the insight above it to appropriately apply pragmatism? Well, that's just called ignorance. That is ignorance. And ignorance with pragmatism is dangerous. Okay? There's a lot of that going on right now at the highest levels. All right. Okay. I got to check Bedford. I'll be back in a couple of seconds.
All right, guys. Sorry about that delay, but yep, you guessed it. I'm here at the Bedford location. Right? They needed me for a couple of things. So I'm here at the Bedford location where we are testing, treating, isolating, and tracing. Hey, Linda. Hey, I was waxing poetic before about a couple of things. Let me get in my car here while I wait. I've got good question. I was just actually getting out of our testing site, so I had the mask on from that. I didn't have the chance to take it off. I wasn't alone. I was in the hot zone. So we wear all sorts of gear in the hot zone. It's a good question. So here I am now supervising the site, waiting to draw blood on a patient. So yes, that's why I had the mask on. You got it, right? So you wear the mask in the hot zone. You definitely want to do that. There's no doubt about it. I'll close that. It's a little light. So, for those that don't know, this is Dr. Murphy with Murphy Medical Associates. I was talking before about
I guess I think maybe the future of medicine and where I think kind of everything's going to go. I think we're going to have a lot more remote diagnostics. I'm working on that myself, getting mobile ultrasound, maybe mobile blood draws, in-home blood draws, in-home ultrasounds, because people are going to really want to shun going out. I don't think they're going to want to be with a bunch of people in a waiting room coughing and sneezing. It's never going to come back that way. I don't see any of that at all. I was also talking about getting ahead of health by getting a good panel of blood work, not just your standard blood count or what have you, getting real detailed blood work, right? So for kidney function, it's not just a creatinine. It's kind of trippy, right? You guys see the picture of myself there in the sunglasses. So we don't wait for the stroke and go, oop, now that you've had a stroke, you need to be on a bunch of meds. How can we prevent the stroke? How can we prevent the stroke, right? And if you look at our crest here, this little guy's a lighthouse, right? So the lighthouse in heraldic times means the early warning system. So how can we be the early warning system to identify disease before it happens? Identify disease before it happens. With a novel coronavirus outbreak, we wanted to identify people who were going to be sicker later on. So we do that through blood work, right? We do a little blood work. We draw blood work on your arm to look for inflammatory markers. One of the big things we had to fight with is a lot of short-sightedness and people who thought they were doctors, right? And then I get it, right? There's a lot of information out there, so you can read a little bit, scrape the surface, and then think you know everything. And from my last podcast, I'll tell you, right? We're the smart people in the room, right? Big heart and smart, quick-witted and brave, right? Quick-witted and brave, and we protect our own. We protect our own, and when you become a patient, you're part of the family, so you're one of our own. And so it's our duty as physicians to care for you, right? It is not our duty as physicians to serve as butlers, right? We don't do that. We're professionals. We're going to warn you of risk. We're going to give you the options, and we're going to offer the treatment. If you don't want the treatment, you're always welcome to go find another doctor. That's all. At a couple of the sites, I draw blood on my own, right, rather than have our phlebotomist do it in certain cases. And so this is one of the cases I'm going to have to draw here in a couple of seconds. And this is part of the reason why I got called to Bedford. We're here for you, right? And our job is to protect you, right? We protect you, not just from coronavirus, but from lots of other stuff. There's no such thing as I wanted just a coronavirus test, right? You've got to get follow-up. You've got to make sure you're okay, right? We have to think about the public. We have to think about the patient. We have to do right by everyone, right? That's the challenge, just being a doctor. And so a lot of people forget that, right? A lot of people forget that you're coming to us for medical care, right? That we're literally setting up our private practice on the outside to be able to care for you. And that's what we're doing. We're doing medical care outside, right? That's all. And that medical care involves a lot of stuff, not just a test, right? Because if you just test without treating, what are you doing? That's a waste. That's a waste. Test, treat, isolate, trace. Anything less is a waste, right? I'm going to go get to this. I hope you guys have a great day. And hope you guys, if you celebrate Father's Day, have a great Father's Day, all right? This is Dr. Murphy with Murphy Medical Associates and our team here in Bedford at coronatestct.com signing off. And I don't know what's going on Periscope. It must be that a lot of dads are recording their wisdom today. Wisdom is different than knowledge, right? Knowledge is knowing that a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing that you don't put it in a fruit salad, right? My dad, Daddy Murph, Lyndon Murphy, would say that's just common sense. And the problem, Steve? You're so smart, but you don't have any common sense. And man, he taught me a lot about common sense. So I think I was talking about how he showed up for me, right? He would drive home from work and wait until my practices were done. And then you know what he'd do? He'd take a little nap in the car. So he'd lay his seat back like this, take a nap in the car. One time he locked me out. It got dark. We had a late practice for football. I'm banging on the window for him to let me. And oh man, I called him. I think it was last year at this time, because the girls were getting ready for a regional competition, and guess what I did? I showed up for them. Right, I'm there to pick them up. I drive in the car. You got it. I take a little nap. Fall asleep. To awake to one of my girls banging on the window. Pa, 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 pa. Dad, let me in. I knew that. Yeah, so the Iron Man. That's right. Get the Iron Man on. So I knew that you got to be an Iron Man, right? You got to work hard. Be kind. Work hard. So I called him and I said, hey, I got another one of your milestones, Dad. Falling asleep in the car, locking the kid out, right? Earlier, maybe 2 years before that, because I try to make breakfast for the kids on Saturdays. It's just one of my rituals to try and make food to provide for, provide the girls. So I called him and I said, hey, Dad, did you ever eat a warm breakfast? And he said, you got it, kid. You're there. You've achieved good. So a couple lessons, right? A couple lessons from my dad, Lyndon Leslie Murphy, who I could go on about this for hours, but I'm not going to go too crazy here. But a couple of good things that he taught me, right? One of the biggest was, even in the challenges of the tumult of your children, when they're usually acting out, when they're usually acting up, they're suffering, right? So when people act up, they're usually suffering. When they're acting up and screaming and shouting, that's not the normal state of most people. And so you have to be kind and try and understand. And I think one of the biggest challenges my father had was seeking to understand me. And that's because I wasn't wired like him, because I was wired like my other dad, right? I was wired like Alberto Perez Rivera, right? I was wired like him. And so it was a challenge to try and understand me. And so then I appreciate that from him. It's a big challenge. He taught me to be kind and seek to understand. But he also taught me attention to detail and work hard. So as you can see here, there's significant overlapping between the fathers. And they made me who I am today. Well, my mom helped too, right? So did my Nana, so did my granddad, so did my family, right? We are all shaped by our experiences. But on this Father's Day, I want to commend both of these men for working hard, for being humble, for paying attention to detail, and for being kind and raising a son like me. I know there were some challenges. I know there were some ups and downs. I know that one of my dads lived with a lot of regret that he didn't spend a lot of that time raising me. But I felt that there was comfort in him knowing that he knew who I was and knew that I would be plucky, clever, hardworking. And I think he felt okay knowing that my other dad, who was diligent, paid attention to detail, and taught me to do the right thing, would be a perfect combination to help raise a kid like me. So with all of my kids, I tell them all the following. Do your best and be good to each other. Do your best to be good to each other. because those two things encompass all of those lessons that my two dads taught me. If we could all do our best and be good to each other, this world would be such a greater place. If we all seek to understand each other, if we all seek to be good to each other, then crazy events like pandemics and wars and famine and strife are a little bit easier. They're a little bit simpler to handle. Okay? Our job is to be good to each other and to do our best, right? I think in ancient Indus River Valley cultures, they believe that people should stick to their dharma, right? And do their best at it. Do their best. But I also believe that we need to seek to understand each other and be kind to each other. Uniquely Buddhist or Christian development, right? Forgiveness, understanding, forgiveness and understanding. Those two are such very valuable traits. And so I take from the men who raised me, I take these gifts they give to me, and I want to give them to all of my children. Because it's so important that we pass that on to the next generation. So now you know about my two dads, Alberto Perez Rivera and Lyndon Leslie Murphy. Two of the most awesome men I've ever met. Misguided in their ways, in their youth, right? Both could be accused of being wild men when they were young. I think a lot of men are wild when they're young. Both of them could never be accused of not working hard. So to my two dads, the one living and the one who have passed, I hope to make my life a reflection of yours. And I hope to pass on to my children the things that you've passed on to me. I miss you guys very much. I love you both very much. Happy Father's Day. I hope all of you take the time to remember those people who were influential in your life on this Father's Day. This is Dr. Murphy with Murphy Medical Associates, getting teary-eyed, a little teary-eyed, not too much, just a little bit. Be good to each other and do your best. To those suffering the spikes of outbreak in Florida, Oklahoma, Texas, the Sun Belt, be good to each other and do your best and wear your mask. You'll get through it. We all will. And we prepare for the fall, right? We prepare for the fall. Be good to each other, okay? To my team in New Haven, we've got a good day ahead of us, taking care of our own, taking care of those who need it the most. All right. I love you guys. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon. It's Dr. Murphy, Murphy Medical Associates, and coronatestct.com. It's coronatestct.com. We'll see you soon. Have a great Father's Day.
Hi guys, it's Dr. Murphy with Murphy Medical Associates. I'm here in my lab reviewing results for patients, and I have a plea to Governor Lamont. I have a plea to Governor Lamont. I have a plea to Governor Cuomo. We have to quarantine those who are coming from heavily infected states now. Today. Make the order. 3 positives today. All traveled from Florida. All traveled from Florida. 3 positives of this batch today we just ran.
all over the state, right? We're from New Haven down to Pelham, New York, and now working on the Brooklyn and Manhattan, right? So we're all over. I'm here to tell you right now, of this batch that I just received today, the positives all had traveled to Florida. All of them. Governors, please quarantine travelers from the affected states. We have to do it now. We have to do it urgently. We need to not mess around with this. We need to not mess around with this. I am here, Dr. Murphy, trying to help, serving as the early warning sign, the tip of the sword, the tip of the spear, whatever you want to say. We get results in real time. And I'm begging you, governors, please quarantine travelers from affected states. None of these people quarantined. Some have GI symptoms. Some have respiratory symptoms. Some of these people don't have symptoms. Please, I beg you. It's Dr. Murphy of Murphy Medical Associates and coronatestct.com, begging you to quarantine the travelers who are coming from highly affected states, Arizona, Florida, Texas, Oklahoma. Please. And if the governor won't ask you to do it, I'm going to beg you as a doctor trying to protect our tri-state area. Please, if you travel from those states, please quarantine. Please quarantine. Please come out and get a test, right? Get a test at one of our sites or any sites, anywhere. It doesn't matter where you get the tests, but please get medical evaluation and get your tests so we can test, we can treat, we can isolate and trace. It's Dr. Murphy of Murphy Medical Associates with a brief little update. 3 positives so far today, all travel from Florida. All right? Have a good day. We love you. Stay safe. Mask up, okay? Don't mess around.